Hello, my lovelies. Today I am sick and having a wonderful time with it. One of my favorite things that I always saw in romantic comedies was, oh, the girl or the guy gets sick hacking into tissues and whatnot. The romantic interest comes in and they're like, what are you doing? You need someone to take care of you, you silly person, you. And so they spend like the day like cleaning up around the house and picking up the mounds of tissues and watching the person vomit their entrails into a toilet. It's great. Great time to watch with friends and family. The cool thing about Japanese people is that they do it too. Networking is like really strong out here. I sent one email to study abroad office worker who like is super helpful and helped me with a lot of stuff and just awesome. And she sent me an email saying, oh, that's too bad to hear, it's like it's going around a lot. She sent an email to all of my professors and it was amazing. The people here are so concerned about health. And so head of household, we're gonna use that, the head of household I'm sick, get over it, came in, asking me questions. She's like, are you okay? Like, do you have a fever? Do you need to go to the doctor? And it's like, oh, no, I'm fine. She's like, oh, by the way, here, can of hot cocoa. Oh, here. Yay! And it's been very tasty. The one really sucky thing, though, that I was gonna get to go for a homestay over the course of the weekend. And because I'm sick, it's like, no, I can't really do that. Like, I'd like to see if I'm well enough to go. I wasn't supposed to leave until tomorrow. I'd like to still, but at the same time, like, I know how much my dad hates getting sick. And my dad almost never gets sick until someone in his household gets sick and comes home and brings it to him. I definitely don't want to go somewhere, like, being sick, especially, so even if I was feeling better, I'd probably still, like, transfer it and stuff. It's just like, I don't want to be that foreigner. I won't get to do the homestay this time around, but maybe there'll be a chance in the future. It's milk chocolate. It's really tasty. And also, in other news, it's really awesome, just like all the timing of it. Because last night, for the first time, the people in the dorm have like been mentioning like a board game group who kind of gets together on the campus. I kind of feel weird around the people in the dorm. I'm me and all that entails, good and bad and misconceived. And so that's the thing, And so for the longest time, I just kind of wasn't getting myself in the butt to do it. But last night, you know what? I am gonna stick around because I've got nothing else to do. And I've like taken care of most of my homework. And so now I'm gonna go do something and see if I can be a part of this. And so I did. After I stuck around for my last class of the day, which by the way, classes went really fantastic yesterday. I had my homework done for like my first 3-hour class, and I actually got through the 3-hour class without wanting to kill myself, which sounds really bad, but it's actually really cool because the class doesn't deserve to be like, horrible, because the teacher's really nice and she actually knows what she's talking about. It's just like there's a communication gap or something that we're just missing. I don't know, but I made it through and it was awesome. And then I went to writing class where I submitted my essay, and it turns out that I kind of fudged up my essay a little bit because like we were supposed to be writing up a report on internet shopping, which I'm very Jozu at. But unfortunately, I wrote it more like as an advertisement instead of a report. It kind of sounds like a dialogue almost. Oh, you're worried about this? Well, don't worry about it because blah, 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 and blah, 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 nay. Only in reports, you're like never supposed to use nay. You're never supposed to say de show or any of the common things that you say in speech terms. The written and speech languages are actually different. And so all throughout my report, there's like red X's on like the yos and the nays and the de shows and all that kind of stuff. That was like the whole point of like my thing, so now I kind of have to like rewrite the whole thing. She wants us to like rewrite it and resubmit it. Whatever, it's fine. Classes. Yes, and then before the writing class, I went to lunch. I had a bowl of ramen, which was nice. It was warm. It was a cold day. It was fantastic. And while I was eating, I was reading the story that I had to read for the class after the Gaku class, which was an amazing story that was really interesting, really thought-provoking, which I really love in a story. That's a good story to me. Anyway, after the writing class, I went to that reading class where the teacher proceeded to kind of blow up on some of the people because they weren't reading, which is often me, so I'm really glad that I read that day. But yeah, so then after that, I just kind of sat around for an hour and a half. I don't know, we sat around for a little while, and then after that, we went to the board game thing, and at first I was awkward because of me, but then we started playing Dixit. I'm like, oh, I know Dixit, so the first thing I do is I throw down a card and I say, Budo! Which it didn't really make sense. I think one person got it on accident. It was like they were little ghosts, but if you looked at it, they kind of looked like grapes, and nobody knew knew what Budo was. I knew what Budo was because I told Anichi Nensei back home that, you know, grape in Japanese is gurepu. And the volunteer sensei was like, oh, no, it's Budo. And I was like, oh, all right, well, I'm never forgetting that now. And so, yeah, that was the thing that I had to go through. So the board game thing was interesting. I think the foreign students, excluding myself and a guy from Holland, all the foreign exchange students left at about around 8. Around 8 they left. I stuck around because I want to play more games. It was fun. I mean, Dixit is one of those games that I've kind of played a few too many times. It's like if somebody brings it out, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll play it once. It's a game that for me, it has replayability, but I don't want to play it a lot in a night. A game like Couriers or Dominion, those are easier to play repetitively because like you can improve yourself, you can get better at like the strategy or whatever. But in a game like Dixit, it's really hard to get better at Dixit. You really just have to know the people better. Anyway, so yeah, I got to talk with the guy who hosts isn't quite the right word. He fuels it, encourages. I don't know what the word is. It turns out that he's like an avid board gamer and just like really enjoys the hobby. Kindred spirit. And so I got really excited because I got to talk to this guy about board games, because the first time that I've actually gotten to talk to another person who's like really into board games. I mean, back home I've got all kinds of friends who love board games and they love playing them, but this was like a guy who knew about board games and knew like intricacies in different games, and it was amazing just to be able to talk to this guy, because like I watch these people on YouTube, like these reviewers and all this stuff, but I don't get to talk to them. I don't get to share opinions and share ideas and get information specifically. It's a totally different experience, and it was amazing. I'm very sad that I took so long to get doing it, but finally lit that fire. Yeah, it's really cool. And not only is there like a gaming group for like students on Thursdays, there's also like a more, he calls it an adult group on Tuesdays that meets, and they kind of sit down and play longer games as opposed to like Ticket to Ride and Dixit, Forbidden Island. Those like smaller intro games, they play some of the heavier game, which is awesome because that means that I got through that entire day and then boom, sick. Because that's literally what it was. I was walking home, like I was leaving Douglas Sensei's office. Douglas Sensei is like the guy who was the sponsor of the board game stuff, and I was leaving his office because we had kind of walked back and we were talking, and I'm like, wow, my throat's kind of itchy. And then as I'm walking back home, it's like, man, my throat's kind of itchy. I hope I can drink that carton of orange juice I have in the fridge. And I get home and I'm like, gosh, my throat is really itchy. And I drink my carton of orange juice and it's not doing anything. So I'm like, okay, well, you know, I've got like tons of little like lozenge candies, and so I'm like, I'll just pop a few of those and, you know, it'll be fine. And it wasn't. Oh, it wasn't. Sleep. When you've got like the itchy, hurty throat thing to where like you can't swallow, it doesn't go well. I mean, obviously whenever you're like in that mode of sickness, like that's the worst sickness ever. I hate nausea just because if it comes up, then at least you feel better, but then still it coming up always feels terrible. But I really do prefer like just coughing and sniffling to having the throat or the nausea or whatever. Luckily right now I only really have the throat, hoping that it kind of just sticks to that. But you never know with sickness. Yeah, that was my little update. So I'm not gonna take some more medicine because I took medicine right before this, but I'm probably gonna go to sleep. Actually, probably not, because my throat's gonna keep me up. But anyway, I just kind of wanted to shoot an update out there because I was super enthusiastic about some things and super interested in some other things that happened very recently. And yeah, why not? It's been a while since I talked to your faces. I hope you gleaned something from all of that, my lovelies. I will see you later, probably in another video in which I scream my pants off because it's terrifying. Bye.